Do you hear, Forester?
Very well. What would you?
I pray you, what is it o'clock?
You should ask me what time of day. There's no clock in the forest.
Then there is no true lover in the forest, else sighing every minute and groaning every hour would detect the lazy foot of time as well as a clock.
And why not the swift foot of time? Had not that been as proper?
By no means, sir. Time travels in diverse paces with diverse persons. I tell you who time ambles withal, who time trots withal, who time gallops withal, and who he stands withal.
I prithee, who doth he trot withal?
Mary, he trots hard with a young maid between the contract of her marriage and the day it is solemnized. In the interim, be but a sennight, time's pace is so hard, it seems the length of 7 years.
Who ambles time withal?
With a priest that lacks Latin, and a rich man that hath not the gout. For the one sleeps easily because he cannot study, and the other lives merrily because he feels no pain. The one lacking the burden of lean and wasteful learning, the other knowing no burden of heavy, tedious penury. These time ambles withal.
And who does he gallop withal?
With a thief to the gallows, for though he go as softly as foot can fall, he thinks himself too soon there.
Who stays it still withal?
With lawyers in the vacation, for they sleep between term, and then they perceive not how time moves.
Where dwell you, pretty youth?
With this shepherdess, my sister, here in the skirts of the forest, like fringe upon a petticoat.
Are you native of this place?
As the coney that you see dwell where she is kindled.
Your accent is something finer than you could purchase in so removed a dwelling.
I have been told so of many, but indeed, an old religious uncle of mine taught me to speak, who was in his youth an inland man, one that knew courtship too well, for there he fell in love. I have heard him read many lectures against it, and I thank God I am not a woman to be touched with so many giddy offenses as he hath generally taxed their whole sex withal.
Can you remember any of the principal evils that he laid to the charge of women?
There were none principal. They were all like one another as halfpence are, every one fault seeming monstrous till his fellow fault come to match it.
My prithee, recount some of them.
No, I will not cast away my physic, but on those that are sick. There is a man haunts the forest that abuses our young plants with carving roslyn on their barks. Hangs odes upon hawthorns and elegies on brambles, officers deifying the name of Rosalind. If I could meet that fancy monger, I would give him some good counsel, for he seems to have the quotidian of love upon him.
I am he that is so love-shaped. I pray you, tell me your remedy.
There is none of my uncle's marks upon you. He taught me how to know a man in love, in which cage of rushes I am sure you are not a prisoner.
What were his marks?
A lean cheek, which you have not, blue eye and sunken, which you have not, a beard neglected, which you have not. But I pardon you for that, for simply your having in beard is a younger brother's revenue. Then your hose should be unguarded, your button unbanded, your sleeve unbuttoned, your shoe untied, and everything about you demonstrating a careless desolation. But you are no such man. You are rather point device to your accoutrement as loving yourself than seeming the lover of any other.
Fair youth, I would I could make thee believe I love.
Me believe it! You may as soon make her that you love believe it, which I warrant she is apter to do than to confess she does. That is one of the points in which women still give the lie to their consciences. But, in good sooth, are you he that hangs the verses on the trees wherein Rosalind is so admired?
I swear to thee, youth, by the white hand of Rosalind, I am that he, that unfortunate he.
But are you so much in love as your rhymes speak?
Neither rhyme nor reason can express how much.
Love is merely a madness, and I tell you, deserves as well a dark house and a whip as madmen do. And the reason why they are not so punished and cured is that the lunacy is so ordinary that the whippers are in love too. Yet I profess curing it by counsel.
Did you ever cure any so?
Yes, one, and in this manner. He was to imagine me, his love, his mistress. And I set him every day to woo me, at which time would I, being but a moonish youth, grieve, be effeminate, changeable, longing and liking, proud, fantastical, apish, shallow, inconstant, full of tears, full of smiles, for every passion something, and for no passion truly anything, as boys and women are for the most part cattle of this color. Would now like him, now loathe him, then entertain him, then forswear him, now weep for him, then spit at him. Then I drave my suitor from his mad humor of love to a living humor of madness, which was to forswear the full stream of the world, and to live in a nook merely monastic. Thus I cured him, and this way will I take upon me to wash your liver as clean as a sound sheep's heart, that there shall not be one spot of love in it.
I would not be cured, youth.
I would cure you if you would but call me Rosalind, and come every day to my cote and woo me.
Now, by the faith of my love, I will. Tell me where it is.
Go with me, and I'll show it to you by the way. You shall tell me where in the forest you live. Will you go?
With all my heart, good youth.
Nay, you must call me Rosalind.
Sweet Phoebe, do not scorn me. Do not, Phoebe. Say that you love me not, but say not so in bitterness. The common executioner, whose heart the accustomed sight of death makes hard, falls not the axe upon the humbled neck, but first begs pardon. Will you sterner be than he that dies and lives by bloody drops?
Enter Rosalind, Celia, and Corin behind.
I would not be thy executioner. I fly thee, for I would not injure thee. Thou tellest me there is murder in mine eye. 'Tis pretty sure and very probable that eyes that are the frailest and softest things, who shut their coward gates on atomies, should be called tyrants, butchers, murderers. Now I do frown on thee with all my heart, and if mine eyes can wound, now let them kill thee. Now counterfeit to swoon. Why it now fall down, or if thou canst not, oh, for shame, for shame. Why not to say mine eyes are murderers? Now show the wound mine eye hath made in thee. Scratch thee but with a pin, and there remains some scar of it. Lean but upon a rush, the cicatrix and capable in pressure thy palm some moment keeps. But now mine eyes, which I have darted at thee, hurt thee not. Nor I am sure there is no force in eyes that can do hurt.
Oh, dear Phoebe, if ever as that ever may be near, you meet in some fresh cheek the power of fancy, then some shall you know the wounds invisible that love's keen arrow make.
But till that time, come not thou near me. And when that time comes, afflict me with thy mocks. Pity me not, as till that time I shall not pity thee.
And why, I pray you? Who might be your mother that you insult, exalt, and all at once over the wretched? What, though you have no beauty, as by my faith I see no more in you than without candle may go dark to bed, must you be therefore proud and pitiless? Why? What means this? Why do you look on me? I see no more in you than in the ordinary of nature's sail work. Oh, it's my little life. I think she means to tangle my eyes too. No, faith, proud mistress, hope not after it. 'Tis not your inky brows, your black silk hair, your bugle eyeballs, nor your cheek of cream that can entame my spirits to your worship. You foolish shepherd. Wherefore do you follow her like foggy south, puffing with wind and rain? You are 1,000 times a proper man than she a woman. 'Tis such fools as you that makes a world full of ill-favored children. 'Tis not her glass, but you that flatters her, and out of you she sees herself more proper than any of her lineaments can show her. But, mistress, know yourself. Down on your knees and thank heaven, fasting for a good man's love. For I must tell you friendly in your ear, sell when you can. You're not for all markets.
Oh!
Cry the man mercy. Love him. Take his offer. Foul is most foul, being foul to be a scoffer. Take her to thee, shepherd.
Sweet
Very well.
youth, I pray you, chide a year together. I had rather hear you chide than this man woo.
He's fallen in love with your foulness, and she'll fall in love with my anger. If it be so, as fast as she answers thee with frowning looks, I'll sauce her with bitter words. Why look you so upon me?
For no ill will I bear you.
I pray you do not fall in love with me, for I am falser than vows made in wine. Besides, I like you not. If you will know my house, 'tis at the tuft of olives here hard by. Will you go, sister? Shepherd, ply her hard. Come, sister. Shepherdess, look on him better, and be not proud. Though all the world could see, none could be so abused in sight as he. Come to our flock.
Exeunt Rosalind, Celia, and Corin.
Dead shepherd, now I find thy sov might, whoever loved that loved not at first sight.
Sweet Phoebe.
What sayest thou, Silvius?
Sweet Phoebe, pity me.
Why, I am sorry for thee, gentle Silvius.
Whenever sorrow is, relief would be. If you do so, trimmed.
Thou hast my love, is that not neighborly?
I would have you.
Why, that were covetousness. Silvius, the time was that I hated thee, and yet it is not that I bear thee love, but since that thou canst talk of love so well, thy company, which erst was irksome to me, I will endure, and I'll employ thee too, but do not look for further recompense than thine own gladness that thou art employed.
So holy and so perfect is my love, and I in such poverty of grace, that I shall think it a most plenteous crop to glean the broken ears after the man at the main harvest reaps. I loose now, and then a scattered smile, and that I'll live upon.
Knowest thou the youth that spoke to me erewhile?
Not very well, but I have met him oft, and he hath bought the cottage and bounds that the old Carlet once was master of.
Yeah, think not I love him, though I ask for him. Tis but a peevish boy, yet he talks well. But what care I for words? Yet words do well when he that speaks them pleases those that hear. It is a pretty youth, not very pretty, but sure. He is proud, yet his pride becomes him. He'll make a proper man. The best thing in him is his complexion, and faster than his tongue did make sense, his eye did heal it up. He's not very tall, yet for his years he is tall. His leg is but so, and yet as well there was a pretty redness in his a little paper, a little more left spread, and that ecstasy. That's the difference between the cut spread and a mingled damask. There be some women, Sylvius, had they marked him in parcels as I did, would have gone near to fall in love with him. But for my part, I love him not, no, nor hate him not. And yet I have more cause to hate him than to love him. For what had he to do to chide at me? He said mine eyes were black and my hair black, and now I am remembered scorned at me. I marvel why I answered not again, but the one omittance was no quittance. I'll write to him a very taunting letter, and thou shalt bear it, both of Sylvius.
Phoebe, with all my heart.
I'll write it straight. The matter's in my head and in my heart. I will be bitter with him and passing short. Go with me, Sylvius.
Why, how now, Orlando? Where have you been all this while? You a lover, and you serve me such another trick. Never come in my sight no more.
Oh, my fair Rosalind, I come within an hour of my promise.
Break an hour's promise in love. He that will divide a minute into 1,000 part and break fuck's sakes, sorry, but break but a part of the 1,000th part of my minute in the affairs of love. It may be said of him that Cupid hath clapped him on the shoulder, but I'll warrant him a heart whole.
Pardon me, dear Rosalind.
Nay, and you be so tardy, come no more in my sight. I had as lief be wooed of a snail.
Of a snail?
Aye, of a snail. For though he comes slowly, he carries his house on his head. A better jointer, I think, than you make a woman. Besides, he brings his destiny with him.
What's that?
My horns, which such as you are fain to be beholding to your wives for. But he comes armed in his fortune and prevents the slander of his wife.
Virtue is no horn maker, and my Rosalind is virtuous.
And I am your Rosalind.
It pleases him to call you so, but he hath a Rosalind of a better leer than you.
Come, woo me, for now I am in a holiday humor and like enough to consent. What would you say to me, and I were your very, very Rosalind?
I would kiss before I spoke.
Nay, you were better speak first, and when you were gravelled for lack of matter, you might take occasion to kiss. Very good orators, when they are out, they will spit. And for lovers lacking, God warn us, matter, the cleanliest shift is to kiss.
How if the kiss be denied?
Then she puts you to entreaty, and there begins new matter.
Who could be out, being before his beloved mistress?
Marry, that should you, if I were your mistress, or I should think my honesty ranker than my wit.
What of my suit?
Not out of your apparel, and yet out of your suit. Am I not your Rosalind?
I take some joy to say you are, because I would be talking of her.
Well, in her person, I will say, I will not have you.
Then in mine own person I die.
No, Faith, die by attorney. The poor world is almost 6,000 years old. And in all this time, there was not any man died in his own person. Somebody help me with this word. Vedalist? Sure. In a love cause. Troilus and his brains.
Videlicet?
You know,
Yeah.
I Googled it and Siri was just all over the map on it. Troilus had his brains dashed out with the Grecian club, yet he did what he could to die before, and he is one of the patterns of love. Leander, he would have lived many a fair year, though Hero had turned none, if it had not been for a hot summer night. For, good youth, he went but forth to wash him in the Hellespont, and being taken with the cramp was drowned, and the foolish coroners of that age found that it was Hero of Sestos. But these are all lies. Men have died from time to time, and worms have eaten them, but not for love.
I would not have my right Rosalind of this mind, for I protest her frown might kill me.
By this hand it would not kill a fly. But come, now I will be a Rosalind in a more coming on disposition, and ask me what you will, I will grant it.
Then love me, Rosalind.
Yes, Faith, will I. Fridays and Saturdays and all.
And wilt thou have me?
Aye, and 20 such.
What sayest thou?
Are you not good?
I hope so.
Why then can one desire too much of a good thing? Come, sister, you shall be priest and marry us. Give me your hand, Orlando. What do you say, sister?
Pray thee, marry us.
I cannot say the words.
You must begin. Will you, Orlando?
Go to. Will you, Orlando, have to wife this Rosalind?
I will.
Aye, but when?
Why now? As fast as she can marry us.
Then you must say, I take thee, Rosalind, for wife.
I take thee, Rosalind, for wife.
I might ask you for your commission, but I do take thee, Orlando, for my husband. There's a girl goes before the priest, and certainly a woman's thought runs before her actions.
So do all thoughts. They are winged.
Now tell me how long you would have after you have possessed her.
Forever and a day.
Say a day without the ever. No, Orlando. Men are April when they woo, December when they wed. Maids are May when they are maids, but the sky changes when they are wives. I will be more jealous of thee than a Barbary cock pigeon over his head, more clamorous than a parrot against rain, more new-fangled than an ape, more giddy in my desires than a monkey. I will weep for nothing, like Diana in the fountain, and I will do that when you are disposed to be merry. I will laugh like a hyena, and that when thou art inclined to sleep.
But will my Rosalind do so?
By my life, she will do as I do.
Oh, but she is wise.
Or else she could not have the wit to do this. The wiser, the waywarder. Make the doors upon a woman's wit, and it will out at the casement. Shut that, and 'twill out at the keyhole. Stop that, 'twill fly with the smoke out at the chimney.
A man that had a wife with such a wit, he might say, wit, whither wilt?
Now you might keep that check for it till you met your wife's wit going to your neighbor's bed.
And what wit could wit have to excuse that?
Mary, to say she came to seek you there. You shall never take her without her answer unless you take her without her tongue. Oh, that woman that cannot make her fault her husband's occasion, let her never nurse her child herself, or she will breed it like a fool.
For these 2 hours, Rosalind, I will leave thee.
Alas, dear love, I cannot lack thee 2 hours.
I must attend the Duke at dinner. By 2 o'clock, I will be with thee again.
Aye, go your ways, go your ways. I knew what you would prove. My friends told me as much. And I thought no less. That flattering tongue of yours won me. But 'tis one cast away. And so come death. 2 o'clock is your hour?
Aye, sweet Rosalind.
By my troth, and in good earnest, and so God mend me, and by all pretty oaths that are not dangerous, if you break one jot of your promise, or come 1 minute behind your hour, I will think you the most pathetical break promise, and the most hollow lover, and the most unworthy of her you call Rosalind, that you may be chosen out of the gross band of the unfaithful. Therefore beware my censure, and keep your promise.
With no less religion than if thou wert indeed my Rosalind. So adieu.
Well, time is the old justice that examines all such offenders, and let time try. Adieu. My dear Orlando, how it grieves me to see thee wear thy heart in a scarf.
It is my arm.
I thought thy heart had been wounded with the claws of a lion.
Wounded it is, but with the eyes of a lady.
Did your brother tell you how I counterfeited to swoon when he showed me your handkerchief?
Aye, and greater wonders than that.
Oh, I know where you are. Nay, 'tis true. There was never anything so sudden but the fight of 2 rams and Caesar's thrasonical brag. of I came, I saw, and overcame. For your brother and my sister no sooner met, but they looked, no sooner looked, but they loved, no sooner loved, but they sighed, no sooner sighed, but they asked one another the reason. No sooner knew the reason, but they sought the remedy. And in these degrees have they made a pair of stairs to marriage, which they will climb incontinent, or else be incontinent before marriage. They are in the very wrath of love, and they will together. Clubs cannot part them.
They shall be married tomorrow, and I will bid the Duke to the nuptial. But oh, how bitter a thing it is to look into happiness through another man's eyes. By so much the more shall I tomorrow be at the height of hard heaviness. By how much I shall think my brother happy in having what he wishes for.
Why, tomorrow I cannot serve your turn for Rosalind?
I can live no longer by thinking.
I will weary you then no longer with idle talking. Now with me then, for now I speak to some purpose, that I know you are a gentleman of good conceit. I speak not that this you should bear a good opinion of my knowledge, insomuch as I say I know you are. Neither do I labor for a greater esteem than may in some little measure draw a belief from you to do yourself good and not to grace me. Believe then, if you please, that I can do strange things. I have, since I was 3-year-old, conversed with the magician, most profound in his art, and yet not damnable. If you do love Rosalind so near the heart as your gesture cries it out, when your brother marries Aliena, shall you marry her? I know into what straits of fortune she is driven, and it is not impossible to me, if it appear not inconvenient to you, to set her before your eyes tomorrow, human as she is, and without any danger.
Speakest thou in sober meanings?
By my life I do, which I tender dearly, though I say I am a magician. Therefore put you in your best array. Bid your friends, for if you will be married tomorrow, you shall, and to Rosalind, if you will.
Enter Silvius and Phoebe.
Look, here comes a lover of mine and a lover of hers.
Youth, you have done me much ungentleness to show the letter that I writ to you.
I care not if I have. It is my study to seem despiteful and ungentle to you. You are there followed by a faithful shepherd.
Hi.
Look upon him, love him. Yeah, no, he worships you.
Good shepherd, tell this youth what 'tis to love.
It is to be all made of sights and tears. And so I am for Phoebe.
And I for Ganymede.
And I for Rosalind.
And I for no woman.
It is to be all made of faith and service. And so I am for Phoebe.
And I for Ganymede.
And I for Rosalind.
And I for no woman.
It is to be all made of fantasy and made of passion and made of wishes. All adjuration, duty, and observances, all humbleness, all patience and impatience, all purity, all trial, all observance. And so am I for Phoebe.
And so am I for Ganymede.
And so am I for Rosalind.
And so am I for no woman.
If this be so, why blame you me to love you?
If this be so, why blame you me to love you?
If this be so, I blame you me to love you.
What do you speak to? Why blame you me to love you?
To her that is not here, and doth not hear.
Pray you, no more of this. It is like the howling of Irish wolves against the moon. I will help you, if I can. I would love you, if I could. Tomorrow, meet me all together. I will marry you, if I ever marry a woman, and I'll be married tomorrow. I will satisfy you, if ever I satisfied man, and you shall be married tomorrow. I will content you If what pleases you contents you, and you shall be married tomorrow. As you love Rosalind, meet. As you love Phoebe, meet. And as I love no woman, I'll meet. So fare you well. I have left you commands.
I'll not fail if I live.
All right.
All right.
Excellent.